The Dice Odyssey. It's a trap! Oh, hey. Sorry about that. Had my dark helmet moment. I'm here to talk to you about No Thanks. No Thanks is a wonderful card game. It's all about bluffing and taking chips and trying to have the best numbers on the board. I look at it as golf in a card game. Come over to the table and find out how it plays. One single pamphlet, double-sided. Shouldn't take you that long. The components that come with the game are a putter, a ball, cards, and tiddlywinks. No, I'm just kidding. Putter's not included. You may think I'm taking it too far when I said it's like golf with cards, but quite frankly, since the game is themeless anyway, anything that adds theme is a plus in my book. At the beginning of the game, depending on what the rules tell you of how many players you're going to have, everybody takes a hand of bidding chips, okay? Now again, the rules are going to tell you how much. And then the second thing you're going to do is count out 9 cards from the stack, which I've already done just to save time, and set them aside. Now, we don't know what numbers were actually in there. All we know is we have this deck of cards left over. Now, to begin the game, one of the players, whoever's turn it is going to turn over the top card. In this case, it's a 31. Now, remember, lower numbers are what you absolutely want. You want to end with the least amount of points in the game. Now, a 31 is not exactly the least amount of points since this thing goes up to 35 on the cards. So, if it's my turn, for example, I might put a chip down and say I'm not taking that card this turn, and so I'm putting the chip down so I don't have to. Now, the next person, let's say somebody over here, they're going to now go, I think I'm going to also not take that. See, you want to keep these chips in your hand closed where nobody can see them, at least hidden somehow, okay? That's where the bluffing aspect comes in. Now, let's say the third player goes, I'm also not going to take that card. And then you can continue to go in rounds after round after round until somebody, let's just say all these chips have been placed by so many players, somebody says, okay, I want to take this card with all these chips on it. And now this 31, with all these chips that were on it, in a sense is now considered a lower number because each individual chip is considered a negative victory point. Now, once you've taken that card and you now have gotten all those chips, you then flip the next card over. In this case, we've got a 4. Now remember, again, lower numbers are better for the game. It's golf with cards. So a 4 might be something I might want to take instead of putting a chip down. Let's see what's next. Now we have a 3, okay? Now this is where runs come in play. Now what a run is a sequential number of cards that go in order. So for example, let's say earlier I picked up this 4 first, right? That was like one of the first cards I got. But then later on, I got a 3. Well, now I put them together. And now, because I have what's considered a run, my 4 no longer counts as a 4. Because in the run, it is the lower number card in sequence that actually counts as the ultimate point. So, for example, I wouldn't add these two together now. My 4 is actually my 3 because the 3 is the lowest number in that particular run. Just to give you an example for the 31 that we took earlier, okay? The 31 on its own is pretty bad when it comes to the amount of points I'm going to end with. Again, lower number of points is best. Well, let's take a look at what we just pulled. The next card in the lineup is a 34. Now, I might be taking a chance taking this, but because I've already got a 31, there's a possibility I might have some other cards that will connect to that 34, so I'll go ahead and take that card. Okay, so now I've got a 34 and a 31. What do I need to connect these two? Because individually, since they don't go in sequence, for example, 31 doesn't just now go to 34. You'd have to go 32, 33, and then 34 to make a sequence, or a run in this case. So let's take a look and see, because until we stop pulling cards, we have to keep flipping them. Now we have a 32. Wow, things are looking up. So I'll go ahead and take that 32, and on its own, pushing that 34 aside, that 32 and that 31 is considered its own run, so that 32 actually is only 31 points. That's what the worth and the value is. Let's see what we pull now from the deck. Wow, now we have a 33. That's the missing link. All joking aside. And now I have a run of 4 cards. My 34 has been now devalued to 31. I just lost 3 points. But remember, losing points is the point. No pun intended. Now let's look at another scenario. Let's say that that same 31 is down there and everybody's been putting chips, everybody's been putting chips, right? And it's covered in them. Well, now it comes around to your turn. And let's say you absolutely ran out of chips because you've been placing along with all the other players. Well, when you run out of chips, you have to take that card now. You have no choice. But the good thing is, in this case, you got a lot of chips to take back with you. Now, the good thing is, the way that you're going to score at the end is like this. You don't count this card, you don't count this card, or this one. Remember, this is one specific run. The lower card is what's going to count totally. So the only card that counts in this particular run is the 31. So now I have 31 points at the end, but wait, I have a second run right here. I'm not going to count the 4 because the 3 is the lowest number sequentially in this run. So now I count that. So really, the only numbers that are going to matter at the end here are my 31 and my 3. So I add those two together. That makes 34. So if I were to end the game right now with nothing else added, I would end with 34 points. That's actually pretty respectable. But then we add in the chips on top of it. And now instead of it being 34 points, it would be 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. You get the idea. The more chips you add in, it's like little minuses adding to your total score. And that's basically how the game's played. So what do I think of this game? No Thanks is a wonderful filler. Think of games like Blood Rage or... sorry. Too much pun included. Anyway, as I was saying, think of games like Blood Rage or Viticulture or any of your bigger box-style games being like your steaks or your main courses. No Thanks would be like a little appetizer or maybe a tiny little bit of dessert. Like, you know, the little bit you get off the pie that you're borrowed from your friend's plate. That's kind of what No Thanks is. But it still tastes good, right? And I think this game's wonderful. I've had great success with it. It's never gone over in a bad way. It's always gone over very well. Everybody seems to like it. They really enjoy the bluffing aspect. My favorite thing is sitting there, and we're sitting there and they're holding their chips and nobody knows what everybody has. But we know they put a lot of chips down, so you're like, maybe they're going to take a card this turn. Or maybe there's a high dollar card or a high value card sitting up there. And you want it because you've got a run of high value cards, and it's a good card that will complete your run. Everybody knows you want it. And the good part is you can actually milk that sucker dry. And what I mean is you can actually make people who don't want that card place chips down because they're having a pass each time they do it. And by the time it comes back to you a few times in different rounds, you can actually take that card and actually have a ton of chips on it because so many people have laid down because they didn't want the card. And in the end, not only do you get your run completed, but you also get a ton of chips on top of it. So it's great, especially if you really want to mess with people at the table. You can play this game, like I say, 10 to 20 minutes in between these bigger games, and it's just a great appetizer to a much bigger main course. Anyway, that's all for me. I'm Kasman, and I appreciate you watching the Dice Odyssey videos. Please like and subscribe, and please leave a comment down below. I relish the opportunity to get to talk to you. Thank you so much, and have a blessed day.